Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Mrs. O'Brien reporting for class. Today we are going to read the short story entitled A Once in a Lifetime Experience by Sandra Bezweatherich. I did well with that last name. I had to chunk it out a few times to get it. Bezweatherich. That was good. It was my idea to invite Derek, the new kid in our neighborhood, on our annual father and son weekend trip. Derek had never been camping or fishing. "Great idea," Dad said. "It'll be a once-in-a-lifetime experience for him, one he'll never forget." Dad and I didn't realize how true that would turn out to be. The car blew a tire on the way to our campsite. Not an impressive start. "A minor setback, that's all," Dad said as Derek and I tumbled out of the car to help. It was dark by the time we reached the campsite, got the boat into the water, and set up the tent. There was a stiff, icy breeze blowing in the lake. Derek shivered as he examined the sky. "That isn't, snow, is it?" "Snow?" I said. "It never snows in March," Dad protested. But those big flakes fell fast and heavy, blanketing the ground. Nice visual. I burst out laughing. Derek grinned, but Dad was horrified. He hustled us into the tent so that we wouldn't catch pneumonia or something. But first, he made sure we didn't track any snow into the tent with us. "We need to keep the floor dry," Dad insisted. "There's nothing worse than sleeping in wet sleeping bags." He passed out sandwiches after we settled in. "Minor setback," he assured Derek. "The snow should be gone tomorrow." Dad reached for the large bottle of cola to pour us each a drink. Maybe the cola was warm, or maybe it had just been jostled or shaken too much, because when Dad opened it, that bottle erupted like Mount Vesuvius. Mount Vesuvius is a volcano. Cola overflowed like lava. That's amazing. Dad dropped the bottle. It rolled across the tent floor, spewing its contents, and we ended up perched on our sleeping bags like castaways, adrift in a cola sea. Derek clapped both his hands over his mouth, and his face turned red, and his cheeks ballooned out as if he were about to explode too. From behind his hands came the snuffling and snorting of trapped laughter. I tried to keep a straight face, out of respect for Dad, not just because he insisted that we keep the tent floor dry, but because he wanted this trip to be perfect. "Minor setback," Dad muttered as we soaked up cola with our towels. The next morning dawned, meaning the sun came up, and it was bright and beautiful, much to Dad's relief. Derek stood at the water's edge, admiring the clear, still lake, the tree-lined shore, and the cloudless sky. "Wait until you catch a fish, Derek," Dad said as he got the boat ready. "That's an experience you won't forget." Dad turned to me. "Right, Steve?" "Right, Dad," I answered. "And wait until you taste some fried, freshly caught fish for breakfast," Dad said. "Right, Steve?" "Right, Dad," I said, although I thought Dad was trying a little too hard. But Derek didn't catch his first fish. In fact, none of us felt even a nibble or bite on our lines. This wasn't a minor setback for Dad. This was a major disaster, and the silence grew. The still air settled hot and heavy, meaning it was uncomfortable. I leaned over the side of the boat. "Fishy," I sang into the depths of the lake. "Come on, I know you're down there." It sure beats sitting around in silence. And we weren't catching any fish anyways. Derek joined in. Fishy, he crooned, looking down into the water. Here, fish, fish, fish. Excuse me, I should make sure that what I'm looking at with my eyes matches with what I'm hearing. So let me try that again. Here, fish, fish. When he turned back to me, his eyes were bulged, meaning wide open. His mouth was puckered, and he was gulping down air the way a fish gulps water. Is kind of how I imagined it. The perfect fish face. I let out a whoop and made a fish face of my own open hands, my open hands on either side of my head for gills. Fishy! Fishy! Derek and I turned our fish faces towards Dad, and there sat Dad with the googled eyes and downturned frown of his favorite fish, the largemouth bass. Fishy, fishy, bite my hook, he chanted in a throaty voice, so I can take you home to cook. That was good. Derek hooted with laughter and fell onto the bottom of the boat. Dad's bass frown upturned into a grin. Lucky that Dad's mood improved when it did, because it was about then that the boat, it started sinking. Mr. Adams? Derek asked. Should there be this much water in the boat? Holy mackerel! Dad yelled. He reached for the motors. You got it! My goodness. Let me try that again. Ready? Holy mackerel! Dad yelled. He reached for the motor. You guys, bail! Meaning like, fill buckets with water and dump the water out into the water. You get it. We barely reached shore, the boat sloshing with water. I'm gonna make it through this, guys. That night, as we sat around the campfire toasting marshmallows, yum, Derek admitted he'd been worried about coming on the trip. But it's been incredible, he said. I'll never forget it. Thanks for inviting me. You're welcome, said Dad. Oh, we're glad you came.